Hey everybody, this is Talk Time with Lady Queen. Listening to some Brazilian soul, trying to get some peace from my soul. Also staying in prayer. And much love to the city of Pittsburgh for their protesting against Trump being at the Duquesne Club. And most importantly, to all the families of victims of police brutality, or what I will call assassination. And in particular, this week for Keith Scott and Terrence Crutcher. I did some earlier videos on this topic, and the more and more you look at the situations, they all look intentional, in my view and analysis. You have several de-escalated events that have happened all over the United States that police never say anything about being recorded. They de-escalate properly. They are all properly trained. I don't know if all police are properly trained, but more often than not, I'm sure if we did some video analysis, we would find the same cops that are committing police brutality are also within their ability to do de-escalation and have done so in high-pressured similar situations. At the same time, if the person is a youth, someone who is a white, poor, a person of color, and particularly black, and or a woman who is a poor white person. I just saw a video of a cop beating a woman in the face that turned my stomach and made me want to throw up, and I don't throw up. I'm just appalled and sickened by it in the blatant showcase. I think it's modern day carpetbagging, mud ruckers, all those things from back in the day where they intentionally put strong divides between groups of people. I think that police brutality as a whole is an issue because a lot of these people obviously are not psychologically well. If you don't listen to them, they take that as a license and a right to abuse you until you submit to their authority. When I don't see the basis for their authority in many of the situations in the first place. But if there's a police officer present and you don't want to get your face beat off, tased, shot, you obey. But now we have come to that you can be completely compliant and be beaten, hurt, maimed, just brutally attacked. And as Malcolm X said in one of the videos I have shared, that seems to be the story in general. They beat you and then charge you with hurting them, even though they don't even have a scratch, and if they did, they would probably lick their wounds and smile with the gratification that they got to beat someone's face in today. This sort of brutality, culture, mentality is unacceptable, obviously. I don't think that all police are like that, but I do think it's something that comes with the territory, such as rape in a lot of all white, black, Asian, Puerto Rican and Asian fraternity and sorority culture, and rape culture in general, parties, athletes, different things like that have occurred where people think the choo-choo train is going and people are riding it regardless if they have consent or not. It is some sort of mob mentality that seems to be solidified within the minds of many police officers. These aren't crazy KKKs, they're crazy cops. And I'm just overwhelmed. I'm overwhelmed. dismayed, and just very prayerful for our nation, prayerful for myself, prayerful for all people of color and all people, prayerful for people overseas who are at the end of military weapons and missiles, who are innocent, whether it's whoever on the other side, Israel and Pakistan versus India, or Afghanistan civil war, or Israel versus Palestine. Whoever it is being funded, and how is it being funded? And I think, they always say in movies, follow the money, and the love of money is the root of all evil. That's what the Bible says. And so there's someone's in very top positions who have done a very good job at brainwashing people to create conflict and divide. That's the base bottom line. They have universal soldiers that are on drugs or not, called police, and some of which who are just so brainwashed they can see the love for their family, but no one else outside of that. They don't see the humanity in anyone who they consider an adversary, which is someone who is of color or anyone that is not on their blue team at that time. So, what do we do about it? Pray, and at the same time, give love, because the only thing that conquers hate is love. It's just a quagmire, isn't it? I believe in self-defense. I believe in the right to bear arms. I believe in the freedom of speech. I believe in the freedom of assembly. I believe in the values that are actually behind the Constitution of the United States and the Declaration of Independence. Freedom, democracy, liberty, those things, even though we know democracy doesn't exist and all that with the Electoral College. And learn how to play Monopoly at the same time as much as you can. But think, the first thing is critical thinking. And once you stop and begin to critical think, then you can make different moves in your life based upon those critical thoughts. And what are their rules? And what is their perception? So one of the documentaries I'm going to do, or I would call it a stage documentary, is going to be based on a African-American male, and then maybe continue it as a series with different individuals where we basically get to have a Black like me sort of experience through this person's eyes, where you watch the film and it becomes interactive, where a Black person, let's say, steps into a store and someone immediately says, "Can I help you?" And you decide on what your response is, and then that person responds to you based on the biases of the character that you picked to respond. And these will all be pre-recorded, of course, and so it's like a live video game, but with real people. And then maybe have a spin-off video game where the people, you pick a character, and every interaction you have within the game platform is based on known biases in society toward that character. And you'll have negative feedback, you'll have interactions, you'll see if you can create love out of the situation and harmony, or if conflict happens, and then what would you do? Sort of like a Grand Theft Auto platform, but not like that at all, because it'll be like real life. Yeah, because I think people need to understand and experience what it is to be other people to the best of our ability. I mean, we can tell them what the experience feels like, but until they experience it itself, maybe even make it a virtual reality game so you can put the goggles on and really have that experience as that person in that world, sight and sound. I think that that's a great idea. And you can pick being a white male. You can pick being a female, a white female. You can pick being an African-American male, dark skin, light skin, African-American female, dark skin or light skin. And the game will be pre-programmed to know the biases against you in that world. You can pick an Asian person or whatever. And you basically play the game the way that you would play Monopoly, which is, you know, going throughout life, meeting certain missions. Some of the missions might be that you're an impoverished person, you're a black male who is going to the corner store and you're 15. And then what can happen, you know, you get to see that, experience that. And some cops come up because that's part of the game. And they just start whooping on you for no reason. And then you'll be like, this game is broke. It's cheating because you lost. But really, a blurb is going to pop up and give you the statistics of stop and frisk and when it became a law and when it was illegal and what were the other judges' opinions that disagreed with it becoming a law for things that make sense. And when can we go back to court about that? Because it's not right. You don't have a right to violate my personal space or any person's personal space. Unless they seem suspicious, right? But the problem with that is what is suspicious. And then you have crime. And things happen on everybody in everybody's block, neighborhood, no matter the color. That is the microcosm of human nature. Wherever you are, crime happens. Then that's when you move on to poverty, a moral society. Like, what is a moral society? What does that look like? How can we teach those values to our children without being judgmental of people and letting them experience their own creative selves? But there still should be some common mores that we say, this is not okay. This is a human right. And emphasize them all equally. No matter who you are. Whatever you decide to do, however you decide to dress, whoever you want to date, whatever. That has nothing to do with each individual, but our only mandate is to love each other. So show love. That's all. And if you think somebody's doing something wrong, pray for them. If they open up the discussion to you, talk with them, but don't mistreat them in any form or fashion. Don't talk down to them. To them. Now, when people looking crazy, they looking crazy. And I don't know about, you discriminating against crazy people. Me too. You looking crazy coming toward me. I would have to defend myself or just, retreat. And that's what I would do, because it definitely, and I don't mean people with mental illness just like that. I mean, people who crazy. You know what I'm talking about. But speaking of which, a lot of people with mental illness do not have any treatment because they've shut down so many psychiatric wards, but have opened a lot of prisons. Seems like the theme here is, again, money. Might as well call it forced labor. 95% of cases, plea bargains. Even if the person didn't do it, they want to take a plea because they are afraid of the jury, of their peers. We can fix a lot of this. Did you see Happy Feet? How they had fixed the whole world? We could do that. I think we should. Or at least it's our mandate to love each other and try. Love zone, man. Finding love in a war zone. What is it they say? All is fair in love and war. Well, let's make that true. All is fair in love. And then there won't be no wars. That's all I have to say. I just had to express myself. I'm greatly dismayed. Love conquers all. It really does. Unity, working together, And all the other points that I made before in my other videos, check them out. Thank you for watching. If you're watching this, I really appreciate you watching the whole video, getting to the end. Please subscribe to my channel, which is Open Voice Lady Queen. Open meaning I openly speak about what I think, feel, or believe should happen, or tips on life like food, because I'm a vegan. I want to get more into fitness, so I may be talking about that. I do film reviews. I try to insert comedy into my commentary. And you know, sometimes I'm just naturally funny, as we all are. And I also do spoken word, rap, and sing a little bit. And like I said, film reviews, and some of them may be of my own films. I may do a review of Black Ophelia, which is based on a Shakespearean character, Ophelia, who committed suicide because her husband died or was killed. And, you know, she couldn't cope with the life after the death. And that is very fitting, seeing that we now have two families, another two families, who now have to cope with life after the sudden death, wrongful death of their father, brother, son, husband. It's so much. And my ancestors cry out. All power to the people. Over and out.